Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio today. I hope you are doing well. It has been one crazy, eventful week, like event after event that has just not been, let's put it this way, it's been suboptimal, to put it nicely. So we're not going to talk about all that, but just a lot of crazy things going on this week and spent way too much money having to fix things and just not been a good week. And in the meantime, my power line or my internet line got cut, so I didn't upload a video any this week. So normally I've been doing Tuesday and Saturday, and it is now Saturday afternoon, and I'm recording this because I was like, you know what, I am going to make a video. Whenever this happens to go up, it will go up. My internet should be fixed on Monday. I can record and edit and upload, but uploading a video to YouTube from my cell phone signal would just be crazy. So we're not doing that. Okay, extremely long intro here, but today we are going to make two different things. We're going to make a proving basket for my bread, and we're going to make a bread cloche, which is basically a pizza stone with a groove in it, and I'm going to make a pottery bowl that's going to end up being the lid that we can bake the bread in as well. So if you're not into making bread, then this may not be for you, but that's something I've gotten really interested in lately. And so, yeah, we're going to make a proving basket or a proofing basket, whichever way you want to say it. I think you can say it either way. And we're going to make a baking cloche to bake the bread in. We might make more than one, but we're going to do at least one of each. And so let's go. All right, one more event here. My battery's almost dead on my phone, so I unhooked my external microphone, so the audio might be a little bit poor, but I'm like, you know what? I don't care what happens. I'm making a video, whether the audio quality's poor or whether it's okay. At this point, I don't care. I'm just recording because I am determined to do something today and determined to make a video, and I'm just tired of being interrupted by external circumstances. So lesson number one of the day, sometimes you just got to do it no matter what. So first of all, I have this bowl from my kitchen that what I did is I actually made a proving basket. Let me go grab that and I'll show it to you. Okay, I did make one basket already. I used some pretty thick coils for this one, and so this thing probably weighs like 8 pounds. And I thought, you know what, that's going to be a bit heavy, but I did, based on the size, number one, when I first measured this bowl, I thought, man, that looks way big, it looks really too big. But by the time, number one, the clay shrinks, and then number two, we're making it on the inside of this bowl, and then we're going to use the inside of the proofing basket. Actually, this one's going to end up being about perfect. It's going to be about 9 inches wide on the inside and about 3 inches deep by the time it's finished. And that's really about perfect for the size that I want to make. And so, but I'm going to make one more, and I'm going to make it with smaller coils this time because this one, like I said, just super heavy and super thick. And so I may end up loving this one, but it's just really heavy and really thick. And so, not that it's going to be a big deal, but I just figured, you know what, I don't necessarily need to have it that hefty. So I've got this bowl I can make it in. I've got another bowl around here as well that was a little bit smaller size than this one. But if I think it's going to be too big when I do the smaller coils in this one, then maybe we'll make a second one in the other bowl. But for now, I've got this bowl to lay the coils inside. I've got my die in the extruder already, and I got my clay. So now we're just going to maybe do a little time lapse and start running out some coils and putting them in the bottom of the bowl, starting with a round ball like I did that one, and then just coiling around that ball. And I'm not scoring and slipping these. I'm just using really wet clay, and so as I make it, it sticks together. Also, I'm not going to be glazing this, and so as long as it sticks together in order to be, I'm going to just fire this one time, but I'm going to fire it to glaze temperature and just leave it raw clay. And so all I'm going to be doing is dusting it with flour and then putting the bread in it for the final proof, and then be dumping it out of that onto some parchment paper to bake. So doesn't, like I said, doesn't have to be glazed, and it's just going to be fired one time to glaze temperature. And so yeah, that's what we're going to do. So let's get rolling with the time lapse. Well, there we go. We have one proofing basket, or another proofing basket, in this bowl to dry. The last one took quite a while to dry because the bottom doesn't get air around it, and it took quite a while to release. But I just thought it was still best just to make it inside of this bowl because it made it the perfect size. So I made this one a little bit shorter than the last one, and but I did measure inside still about 10.5 inches from here to here on the inside of this, which will end up being about 9 inches wide. Completely finished. So we're gonna let that dry. That'll take several days to even come out of this, unless the weather dries out quite a bit. Then it may come out sooner. But either way, now we're gonna make the cloche. We're gonna make basically a flat round disc with a groove in it, and then I'm gonna make a bowl that I will then trim. Will then eventually turn upside down to fit in that groove. And I'll either put a handle on the top of that, or maybe 2 handles on the side, something like that, in order to be able to pick that lid up off of the basically like a round pizza stone type thing that'll be on the bottom. But anyway, so there's the proofing basket. And what I have now is I have one of my 14-inch round plastic bats here. I have a couple 3-pound clay balls and a couple 5-pound clay balls. Not 100% sure how much it's going to take, but I want to make that bottom piece, I want to make it pretty thick. I probably want to get at least a 1/2 inch thick, and it needs to be probably 11 to 12 inches wide. So that 3 pounds may not even be enough, but we're going to try one, and then if it's not enough, we'll grab a little bit more clay and we'll make another one. So like I said, I want to make sure that this bottom is fairly thick, just so that it holds a lot of heat, but also so that it's durable. Like I said, I'm not sure if 3 pounds will be enough. I thought about grabbing 3.5. I probably should have, because then I could just cut the extra off. Because now that I'm throwing this, I don't believe this is going to be enough, because I probably want to leave it about that thickness right there. And it looks to me like that's probably only 11 inches wide, and I probably want to go wider than that. So yeah, that is almost 11 inches wide right there, but that's about the thickness I wanted to go. And we might just go a little bit thinner just so we can get a little bit wider, and then we'll add maybe another 1/2 pound to the next clay ball and use it. So I think that, I mean, that's still plenty thick even if I left it like that. Um, so I think we'll be good with that. I'll use my nice rubber rib here to smooth that out. Alright, there we go. And now it's probably gotten a little bit wider, so we're now at about 11 1/4. So all I'm going to do is just put a groove in it way out here at the outside edge with my finger. And what that's going to do is just allow the bowl that I make to sit down in this groove. And then basically have a flat place here that I can set the bread on. Whether I do it sliding it on there from a some kind of I don't have a pizza peel, which I need to get one, but I've been just sliding it on there from my wood cutting board, or if I just if I get the bread out of the dough out of the proofing basket onto a piece of parchment paper, then I could just lift that up and set that on there. But still, inside that still gives me well, see, that's only 10 inches right now, so by the time that shrinks, it's going to be a little bit small inside this, so that's why I wanted to make it wider. But I think that'll still be fine, but we're going to make another one and make it a little bit bigger, and then we'll have a bowl. We'll make a bowl to fit each one of these, and then we'll see which one works best. So it's about 10 1/4 where the lip of the bowl needs to go. I would like that groove to be a little bit bigger, and then also make the outside of it go a little bit wider. So I probably want to go 12 1/2 probably for the next one, but that's what we have with that one. I went ahead and grabbed 4 pounds for this one because I thought, you know what, the wider it gets, the more clay you need to make that ring all the way around. And I thought instead of just barely having enough, I'd rather have too much and either have it thicker or take some extra clay off once it gets out there. So we got 4 pounds for this one, and it'll probably be more what I want than even 3 1/2 would be. Oh. Yeah, I think the little these plastic bats have those little pockets on the bottom that fit around your bat pins. And I think one of the pockets on this one is a little messed up, a little broken, so if I'm not careful, it'll shift like crazy on me like that a second ago. One of the crazy parts is that I can't even bake any bread right now in the house because along with my internet cable, the person installing my new septic system also hit my gas line that goes to my house. So that's cut off right now. So thankfully the only thing that the gas does is go to my stove and my oven. But I actually have made some bread, or made some dough that's proofing right now in the house, and I'm going to actually try cooking that on my grill. So we're going to try that. I'm going to do it on a cookie sheet, or maybe 2 cookie sheets, and then put a large cooking pot over top of it to make like a makeshift cloche. So we're going to try that. I'll probably try that this evening because I've got the bread proofing right now. But by the time these are done, my gas will be fixed and we'll be back in business. So yeah, see, that's only a little over 12 right there. But I could go a little thinner with the whole thing and get it out there. But by the time I do the little groove, it'll probably end up being about 12 1/2. So it really needs to be about 4 pounds in the bottom here. So now we'll go out near the edge, and I'm gonna put that groove in there like I wanted. The only problem with making that groove is that I really have to have the bowl to fit perfectly to that size and also not warp at all. So giving myself a nice little challenge there for making that fit right. But I think that would be really nice to have that fit right down in that groove and fit nice and snug. So, alright, so this one is, 12 and a half by the time I made that groove. Alright, so that one's 10 1/4 to the inside of the groove, and this one is maybe 11 1/16. So the bowl, inside of the bowl measurement needs to be that size so that it can at least get past the inside flat part and into the groove. So the rim of each of those bowls that I'm going to make next need to go inside that. And I'd say the bowl, depth of the bowl on the inside even needs to be a good 4 inches, maybe maybe 4 1/2, something like that, just to give enough space in there for the bread to rise as it's inside the cloche. One of the things that this, if you don't know with bread, one of the things that helps bread rise in an oven is adding steam inside the oven. And if you don't have something to put it in, like a Dutch oven or a cloche, you have to actually add water into a pan inside of an oven, so it creates what's called a spring that allows the bread to rise while it's baking, and it allows the crust of the bread to stay soft enough so it can rise. If not, the crust will harden too soon, and then your bread will just be, it's still cooking, it'll still be bread, but it'll just be more dense because the crust is forming, not allowed it to expand. That steam inside the oven allows the crust of the bread, or the outside of the bread, to stay soft so it can rise. And then once that steam's pretty much gone, the crust forms, and you get that nice crispy crust and still a nice airy loaf on the inside. So that's the point of making these, is so the bread actually will kind of steam itself inside of this, because as it's releasing moisture, it stays inside of the cloche. Or if you have a Dutch oven, that works the exact same way. I don't have one of those, so I've been just making mine with a pan in the oven to create that steam. But anyway, now we're going to make the 2 bowls, and we'll be done. Alright, we have our 2 5-pound clay balls, which I'm hoping is going to be enough to make the bowls that go on top. So I'll try one, and we'll, just like the trays there, we'll see if it's big enough, and then go from there on the size. But it should be. I'm not too worried about this. The only thing about this is I probably will turn this over and trim this to be a little bit more round once it stiffens, so that I can have that, because the bottom of this is going to end up being the top as it's turned over on that tray. It would be really nice to actually make it thick enough that it makes a perfect dome. I would definitely have to use more than 5 pounds to do that. But here initially we're just going to make one that is curved but won't be perfectly round on the outside. Alright, so the first one needs to be 10 1/4 on the inside measurement of the rim of the bowl. I'd like to leave really the whole thing, but especially the rim, I want to leave a little bit of thickness there so it can kind of fit into that groove, and it gives it a little more sturdiness as it fits down in that groove. Makes a nice, make this rounded, the indention there is nice and rounded. So right now we're at about 8 1/2. Yeah, inside depth we're at like 5, so we're good there. see, we're at 10 there, so now we'll probably shape a little bit. Not going to worry too much about the base of this, like I said, because I'm going to turn this over and trim it. Let's see, get the inside measurement there. It's about 10 1/4, so we're almost there. The only thing is, I think this might, I know shrink wise it should be the same because it's a percentage, but I think that this, being a wide bowl, will probably shrink more than that. So I probably want to go a little bit more than 10 1/4 on the width. I could be proven wrong on that, but my experience in the past is I think that I need to go a little bit wider to allow for that, the way this bowl is going to shrink versus that big flat platter there. Yeah, I'm going to go almost 10 1/2 there. Alright, I am going to reverse this a little bit and curve the inside down here at the base. Now, similarly, like the proofing basket, this will most likely not be glazed. I could glaze the outside of this bowl, but the base is not going to be glazed, and the inside of this will not be glazed. It'll just be fired to glaze temperature. Alright, we have almost 10 1/2, about 10 3/8 to 7/16. So I think we'll be good right there. And I think for the next one we need to definitely grab a little bit more clay. But that's a good thickness for that size. And like I said, I left extra clay there because I'm going to trim that. Come back later and trim that. Alright, there's 6 pounds here that's left over of that pug that I had laying over there, so I think this will be good. So 6 pound bowl, and we got to go like just barely over 11 inches in width. So it's not much wider than that one, but I'd like to have the extra clay to make it a little bit more rounded as well. So combined weight, if I do the 6 and the 4, that'd be 10 pounds of clay there, plus whatever handles I put on. Of course, I'm going to trim this, so it'll end up being a little bit less than 6 pounds by the time it's trimmed. And then the other one, you got 5 and 3. So you got 8 pounds there. And it might end up that the smaller one will work better based on the size of my loaves. It all just depends on the size of the loaf that you're making. And I'm trying to base these off of what I've made so far and trying to get a similar size. So this one I'm going to leave a little bit more clay at the bottom so that I can do a little bit more of a trimming job there than what I had planned for that 5 pound bowl. Probably going to go for about 11 1/4 on the inside of this one. About 10 1/2. So I think what I'm going to do here is do some of my reverse throwing and curve this. That'll allow me to shape the inside and then give me a better idea of how I'm going to trim the outside if I get the curve the way I want on the inside. And I don't want these to taper in too quickly from the rim because I want to have that room for the bread to rise inside there. Yeah, we're still only at 10.5, so we got to go out a little bit wider. And I can do that while shaping this like this as well. I can kind of push out and then go down. This is going to make a really nice bowl. I'm going to wish I had this just as a bowl, not as the lid here. Alright, we're getting there. Almost there. All right, let's measure that. Yeah, I believe we're good right there. Alright, let's get the wheel going back the other way so I can make sure this rim is nice and rounded here. There we go. Yeah, I really like that one. And then maybe we'll I'm sure that's probably enough for this video, but left the extra clay there at the bottom. Maybe we'll come back with another video where I turn these over, make sure they fit, trim the bottom of these, which will then end up being the top, and put the handles on. Maybe we'll make a separate video about that. But for now, I think that's good. We've got 2 proving baskets made, one in this video and the other one I showed you. I got 2 cloches, and yeah. We'll see if they turn out well, and yeah, well, I'm getting ready to go see if my bread, how well it's doing for rising my dough, and then yeah, I'm gonna try baking some of that on my gas grill. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But as always, thank you guys for being here, and apologize about all the delays lately. But yeah, life has just been crazy, and we're just having to deal with it. So that's what we all do. But it's been very interesting lately. So anyway, thank you guys for your support, and especially you patrons on Patreon. You guys are awesome, and I really appreciate it. You guys got the message recently that I sent out the first batch of pots to you all who deserve those or earn those. So thank you all so much for your help and support on that. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.